Hello, my name. As soon as I said hello, you went. Switching on. My name's Colin Lane, this is Lawrence Mooney, and this is Cup of Tea with Col or Cotwork, and we're going to drink tea. Do you like
I'm
tea?
a big tea fan.
Good.
I was raised by English parents.
Yes.
And we were a tea household.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
The cows had a big one. So I find it very refreshing. I didn't believe my mum. She would, on a hot day, 40-degree Melbourne day,
Yes.
on the point of passing out, she would put the kettle on and make a hot cup of tea
I
with
grew-
the contention that it was more refreshing than a cool drink.
I grew up in Perth, so we had, 20 days of 45 degrees. It was just
Well, we had 45 days.
Yeah, we had 46 days of 42.
I got set on fire a lot of times.
She would, have a hot cup of tea in the middle of the day
Does it?
and say that it was refreshing.
Is
But
the logic that it makes you sweat and thus it cools you down, or because I like it when I've got a hangover, it really opens the gullet. I find that it burns the barnacle away.
Yes.
The drinking barnacle.
Sometimes in the morning, it's the only thing that actually gets me out of bed, because we make a joke with our kids every morning. We give them a cup of tea and go, that is the best cup of tea you've ever had. But the first cup of tea of the day is the best cup of tea you've ever had.
Yeah.
Because you sit, you let it steep
Nice.
or
I was
draw.
waiting.
Yeah. Because
You draw a bath.
do you?
Yeah. I let you
don't.
the
You
tea
don't
steep.
You'd let it steep, and then you do it. You do 2 revolutions before you.
And it's got to be hot. It's got to be almost burning hot.
But there's a whole, kind of science to the tea. There's a whole kind of philosophy. I do like the fact sometimes that people say, "Do you want a cup of tea?" And I hesitate, and they go, "Well, I'll make you one, and if you don't like it, tip it out."
Yeah.
You
Can I tell
you
you
don't have
about-
to make a big deal of it.
Can I tell you about the weirdest cup of tea I ever had?
Yeah.
And when I say
sure.
weirdest,
I don't know whether I've got a story like that, but
I was doing yoga
Yes.
in St Kilda, and my friend Des Dowling and I had decided to get a yoga teacher for a 1-on-2. So we did about 6 weeks of 1-on-2 intensive.
Yeah, nice.
And then I got introduced to another yoga teacher, and we were doing yoga together, and he said, "Would you come around to my flat, because I've been studying the Japanese tea ceremony, and I'd like to serve you."
Oh,
and I said,
yeah.
"Well, that sounds lovely."
Yeah.
So I go around to his house in St Kilda, and he's got a room set up with Koya matting and a little burner in the corner, and it's the Japanese tea room, and I have to get into something like a kimono, so it's like,
Oh.
you could get changed and then go into the room and sit down.
So it's
And
all very formal.
very formal,
Yes.
and he ding ding, and he comes in and bows in front of me.
Why
And of
did he want to
course,
do this?
Because he'd been studying it.
Right.
It's like a martial art, and you need to serve someone.
Okay.
And so I'm sitting there thinking, is this going to get sexual? Is this going to get sexual? And he came in and he bows in front of me and he says, "Master, it is my privilege." And I said, "Oh, you
Sit
don't
down.
You don't have to call me master." And he shot me a glance as if to say, "Do not fuck with me when I'm
Yes.
doing this." He just went, I went, okay. And he bowed and he brought in some food, tiny Japanese food, and said, "Please enjoy."
Tiny
And then
biscuits.
backed out of the room and shut the door, and I'm alone in this room in this flat in St Kilda eating tiny Japanese food. And then he comes in again and bing with the tea and pours it and, worships the tea.
But this was a bit of a surprise to you because he'd never behaved like this.
Oh, well, he was a yoga teacher, so he was
Okay,
behaving
yes.
like a yoga teacher, and he was a very kind of like relaxed, zen kind of a
Chilled,
guy.
yes.
And invited me around to his house for this Japanese tea ceremony and said I'd been studying the Japanese tea ceremony, and would you allow me to serve you? And I said, yeah, sure.
Sure.
I thought we were going to have some Japanese tea and
have a chat.
and shoot the breeze.
Yes. But you didn't think that you should say, that's fine. Are you going to call me master?
Yeah. And do I have to wear a Japanese
Yes.
gi or kimono or something?
Yeah.
And so it went for about an hour, and my feet were going all pins and needles because I had to sit cross-legged on a cushion.
Oh, yes.
And I was alone.
I've been to some...
very alone.
So, what am I doing in here?
I've got to say, this is a little bit more familiar to me, this tea ceremony.
Was it normal tea, or was it like your...
Kind of like your
jasmine tea?
lemongrassy,
Oh, yes.
herby. It was nice.
Right.
Lovely tea.
Yes. So this is
more familiar territory.
good. Yeah.
But-
So we've been shooting the breeze, and I didn't even ask you to get dressed up.
But
in
I
anything.
want you to call me master.
Okay. Master, Colin Lane, and a cup of tea with Cole. See you next time. Bye now.
Sayonara.
Hey.